Hello, my friend. It's the first Sunday of June of 2021, and I believe you have had a nice weekend. This is Reverend Dr. Samuel Kisseadoo speaking in Virginia. Let us talk about specificity, being specific in what you say. Specifically, being specific in prayer, and therefore specific in your communication. Prayer is the best communication because it's communication with God. I repeat, prayer is the best form of communication because it's communication with God. You have other forms and kinds of prayers. The prayer for food is not the same as the prayer for healing or prayer for something else more urgent. We have intercessions, applications, and things, but we are not going to those details. Because we are not very specific in our communication, I have problems with that. Whether you are single or whether you are married, whether you are a leader or you are someone being led, from president to prophet to priest to king to prime minister to family head to husband to wife to teacher, to the professor, to whatever profession you have, CEO, we have a problem with not being too clear and too specific with our communication. Do you know when Jesus was talking, he said, Jesus turned and said, if you have something important, let the one know you are talking to me. But don't say it too general and expect your wife, expect your husband, expect God, expect the person to be able to understand and do exactly the way you want things to be. So we must be very specific in our prayers. Now, I have one or two examples to tell you. The first one is the case of Hannah. In the book of 1 Samuel and chapter 1, you know, she wasn't having a child with her husband, and the rival was laughing at her and jeering at her and mocking her all the time. So in 1 Samuel and chapter 1, verse 11, listen to Hannah. Then she made a vow and said, O Lord of hosts, if you will indeed look on the affliction of your handmaid, your maidservant, and remember me and not forget your maidservant, but will give your maidservant a male child, give her a son, then I will give him to the Lord all the days of his life, and no razor shall come upon his head. And God gave her Samuel. Very specific. Hannah didn't pray to say, God, give me a child, give me a son. And God gave her Samuel. And she also had a heart and a mind that were all sincere. So God, who looks on the heart, according to 1 Samuel 16 verse 7, chapter 16 verse 7, the Lord looks on the heart. God knew that what she was saying was sincere. And most of them, we are not very sincere with our prayers. Some are frantic efforts, like emergency, calling upon God, like a fire truck. And then when we get what we want, when we are healed, we don't use the strength to serve God. When we get the money or get the job, when we graduate, and the Lord gives us the job, when you marry finally, when the pregnancy occurs, when the baby is born, when you get the visa and you travel, when the investment goes through, when you get a loan and the business booms, when you get that new house, either you built or you bought it, and you get that friend, that favor, that opportunity, we often forget God. Or we try to do something to please him somehow, but please more of ourselves and try to please people. And then the next one, we are crying up to God again. So we can't be too specific. I'm not saying don't ever pray and say, Lord, save me. That was one sentence prayer from Peter when he was drowning, when he, by faith, walked on the water like Jesus. Lord, save me, and Jesus saved him from drowning. I'm not saying don't pray those kinds of prayers. If you hit something on the road, or there's a head-on collision, or something is happening to you and you fall down, Lord, save me. Jesus, sometimes just Jesus. Yes, all those things are there. But when you get into prayer for a specific thing, be specific in the prayer. If your child is going for exams, and you know your child is weak, so far as mathematics is concerned, Lord, help my child in the exam. That's fine. God will help. But it is better to also go further. You know, he or she is weak so far as math is concerned. Lord, specifically take away the fear and give her special grace and the brains to understand questions, because understanding questions is the beginning of answering questions well. It's the same as when we interpret questions before you answer them. Most of us don't. We ask a question, we know too much. And your wife will ask you, answer. Husband will ask you, answer. Teacher will ask you, answer. Someone will ask you this. And he goes on the WhatsApp page, he's putting up something. If something comes, he's responding, he's reacting. Pause for a minute or two. There are some of them you wanted to go very far and produce results, so pray about them before you take your pen. We tend to think we know too much. And sometimes we are so used to the preaching, used to the teaching, used to the English language, or whatever language you're using, used to writing, used to being on the radio or television, used to talking to the people in the family, used to talking on the phone, on Facebook, and things, and you don't pause to think about what you're saying. So in communication, we need thinking talkers. You see? Someone said sometimes when you are praying and you finish, ask yourself, what am I asking God to do? And sometimes you have to. After praying and praying, sometimes you say, I fasted and prayed. I fasted 3 days. Some of the fasting we do at the beginning of the year even. What were you telling God to do? Now we did it in January, some up to February, March, now it's June. Are the prayers being answered? Are you living according to the prayers you prayed? Whatever you are engaged in before you got into it. If there's an issue in your home or your marriage or your life or your singleness or your single parenting or with in-laws or your health or the community or position of authority in the church, your leadership in the group, whatever position you hold in church or ministry or whatever you are trying to do, and you prayed, are you having in mind the way you prayed? What did you want God to do? And are you living and operating according to your prayers? We are not specific. Be clear and be specific. Know what you want. Have an objective and a vision. Vision is the central driving force of a person's life. Don't just zigzag left and right, obeying the wind when the wind blows. You live by circumstances instead of by values and principles. And you live by what you hear in the radio, on the internet, and the media, and here they said this is the one that fetches money, this one does this, and he's changing and going there. You don't have an aim, an objective. That is why you don't just, for example, copy people's marriages and courtships and single lifestyles and ministry and leadership and things you don't copy. Well, there are some things you can emulate as an example, role model. But you take inspiration and take lessons and find out what works for you and your partner and your group. And take baby steps. You see? Without rushing and things. And then in the end, you mess up things. God gives you opportunity and you mess it up because you want to be too big at the beginning. You see? Start well. But you want to run all over the place and make yourself famous. With too much noise. Some to delay too long. And they waste opportunities. Opportunities are never actually wasted. Someone takes it. So be very specific. That's what Hannah did. And when you are praying, whatever you have in heart to do, when the answer comes, do it. So that the next time you don't disappoint God or block further answers to prayer. Another example is Nehemiah. In Nehemiah chapter 1 and verse 11, when Nehemiah went before the king, he said, give me mercy, give me favor before the king today, this day. Very, very specific. This day before the king. You see, he was very specific that day. So, we are not saying that if you pray and it looks general, it's sinful, it's not right. But try to be as specific as you can. As you can. In chapter 4 of Nehemiah, verses 4 to 5, you also see Nehemiah praying and telling God that what they are planning against them regarding the walls of Jerusalem, what they want to do to destroy them, God should not let it prevail and to come upon them. If you want you to experience, have a dose of your own medicine and see what it is like, what you are wishing for me. As the Lord led them. So Nehemiah was very specific. Okay. The third one is King Asa. When Zerah the Ethiopian came to attack him in 2 Chronicles chapter 14, he had only 300 men. And the guy came, Zerah came with 1,000,000 army, 3 times. Now if you look at 2 Chronicles 14, verses 9 to 11. 2 Chronicles 14, 9 to 11. He prayed. And when he prayed, he expressed the strong relationship he has with God. You see, he didn't just go around it. Listen to what he said. Asa cried out to the Lord, his God, and said, "Oh Lord, it is nothing at all for you to help, whether with many or with those who have no power. Help us, O Lord our God, for we rest on you. And in your name we go against this multitude, O Lord. You are our God, and do not let man prevail against you." Do not let man prevail against you. So he made the battle God's battle. He didn't feel that my prestige is being trodden down upon. Yes, your reputation, your name, your health, your life is at stake. We know that. But if you can learn in your heart and mind to make it God's battle concerning the issue I want to marry, or concerning this difficulty in the life of a husband or wife, some is a former spouse, or a child or parent, or family member, or an in-law, or your health, or those you work with, those on the committee with you, those in the ministry with you, and concerning issues on the job, and colleagues, and the boss, and employee, and employer, and all the rest of them you can imagine. In your name we go against this multitude. You are our God. When you say God, you mean at least 6 things. God, you created me, and therefore I worship you. Therefore I owe it all to you. And you are the one who provides for me. You are the one who sustains. And you are the one who protects. You created me. I worship you. I owe everything to you. You are my provider. You are my sustainer. And you are my protector. God doesn't provide beauty, money, wealth, position of authority, health, strength, favor, opportunity. You name it. Provide you with leadership, appointment, to win an election. Any provide you with a parent, a child, and without protecting it, you have to allow, because it doesn't interfere with your will. And be specific when you are talking to God. You see? As a biologist, environmental science is one of my areas. In fact, I did a master's in environmental science in Holland. The first was in ecology, master's in Ghana, West Africa, okay? And then other degrees. You see, and in environmental science, the first day of class, sustainability is a key word the first day of class. To sustain means you use and keep constant. If you cut the trees, still make sure we have trees. You take the fish for us to eat, make sure we have fish. That's the meaning of the word conservation. Preservation means you don't touch it. Nature preserve, you don't touch the forest. So conserve forests, just still use the trees, selective cutting and all those things, and still make sure we plant trees and keep sustain. And God sustains. He will still give the health, but you'll be using the energy and keeps it renewal of it. Isaiah chapter 40, 30 to 31. Isaiah 40, 30 to 31. It says, you wait upon him, you renew your strength. Actually, the translation is, you exchange your weakness for God's strength during the prayer. Be specific where you are weak. Tell him specifically and exchange your weakness for God's strength. And so you mount up with wings like eagles without flapping your wings and getting tired easily. He has learned how to soar on the wind and go up higher than all the birds without flapping the wings. You see, mount up with wings like eagle. So you run, not be weary. That's the armor car. So you go with the airstrikes. And then the third part of the war, you walk and not faint, where you use a gun into holes. There are 3 stages for every war. 3 stages. The airstrikes, and when we preach, we do this, we do that. Bind the enemy. After that, you walk. You see? After that, you run anyway. The running comes. That's when you have the cars moving in places, you know, the armored cars and all the rest of them. After the airstrikes, then the third is where you walk from place to place, house to house, hole to hole, man to man. So on the radio, on the TV, Sunday church service, the crusade is not enough. We must learn how to do it in little groups, how to be able to visit people, and then the ground war is when person to person follow up. And that is what the church is lacking. That personal touch, personal contacts, premarital counseling. But when the people finish marrying, until they bring a problem, they go on until explosion takes place. We are not specific in our prayers. We are therefore not specific in our teaching. Counseling, therefore, is poor, specific. And be clear about your instructions, therefore clear about your prayers. Okay. Another example we have is the life of Jesus. In Gethsemane in Matthew 26, 39 to 44. In Gethsemane in Matthew 26, 39 to 44. You want to pray, Father, if it is your will, take this cup from me. And the Bible says, he went and said the same thing. Look at verse 44. Matthew 26, 39 to 44. Zero in on the target. If you don't aim when you shoot, you will not know when you hit. If you don't aim when you shoot, you will not know when you hit. We have what I call fruitful meditations. And you know, I've been writing them for Fruitful Ministries. Our ministry is evangelistic and teaching organization, enriching churches and communities and groups, working with all kinds of people and schools and ministries and churches and cities and villages and towns and everybody. Join us. Okay? So the Fruitful Meditation, and I give it that one once a week so that you can take time to meditate and think over and over. So the Fruitful Meditation for this week is what I am doing right now. And our motto, our theme, our central subject, whatever word you want to use, for this year, the theme for this year is faith in action. Faith that moves, faith that is dynamic, faith producing results, faith in action. And for faith in action is faith that is specific. So as a ministry, and of course for the whole world, for everybody, we are imploring you. Paul even sometimes says, I plead with you, admonish you, advise you, and encourage you that have faith that is specific in your asking, in your shooting. Then it becomes faith in action. A gun in action is not a gun shooting all over the place. And what I'm saying is that whatever WhatsApp platform you belong to in our ministry or whatever it is, whatever church or group or whatever you are, be specific when you are talking. Be specific in things. Therefore, when you are talking to God, because we have not learned for our yes to be yes and our no to be no, God means be specific. We make it affect our prayers and things we ask. We think so much about ourselves. We are so self-centered, greedy and everything, that our minds sometimes even can be specific about people we are praying for. Okay? So a faith in action is a faith that is specific. And such a faith should not be anxious and desperate. No. If you don't aim when you shoot, you will not know when you are hitting. For you to praise and thank God and bring the game, bring the animal home. You shot a lot. What did you bring home? And that is what we want to put across to you in this message. We suggest you read 1 Samuel chapter 1, 1 to 20 about Hannah. And how Hannah finally gave Samuel to God. You know the story. So to summarize, faith in action is our theme. Number one, know your weapon, the gun, the word of God, and the prayer you are praying, and whom you are praying to, who God is. He created me. I worship him. I owe everything to him. Even the air I breathe belongs to him. My body is a temple of the Holy Spirit. Stop misusing your body and trying to use your body as a bargaining chip and this thing against your spouse, whether it's sex or romance or money or conversation or communication and things you are hiding from your partner. And stop misusing your body as a single person preparing for marriage. Meanwhile, she has not even yielded the sex life and the feelings and the thoughts and the desire to marry. He hasn't yielded it to God. So how is he going to yield the spouse and the marriage and the engagement or customary rites ceremony and blessing of the marriage and guidance and parenting and things? The person didn't start right. He doesn't know how to specifically have an objective, a vision, and praying to God, and therefore pursuing a vision. Dream becomes a vision. Dream means God can do. Vision means God will do. With prayer and the word and things, the dream becomes a vision. Many dreams are not fulfilled because they didn't become a real vision. And as a result, they say, God didn't do it. Be specific. And we pursue vision. The test of your vision, how soon you give it up. Know your weapons. Number two, what are you trying to kill with your gun? What are you aiming at? With the investment, with the job, not just getting money. What are you producing there? When you leave and someone comes, well, the one inherits something for the company, for the organization. When you don't win the next elections and you are elected into that office, whether it is church or in politics or a nation or community, or you are the chief and you die, or the king, or things happen to you, you're no more the chair of the party or the organization or the group or ministry, you're no more the pastor, you are transferred. What did you leave behind when you were transferred, or when you died, or when you left office, or when you didn't win the next election? What are you leaving behind for someone to go and build upon that? Was this just selfishness and self-centeredness? You didn't know what you were doing? What did you do with the gun that you were given? What are you trying to kill with the gun? Number three, aim properly. Don't just shoot, I know it's here, but something is attracting me. Or are you doing this to please a family member or a friend, trying to do it to show off? So you're not aiming properly. You're trying to show how wonderful you are in the ministry, in the church, in the community, on the radio, and the TV, and you're imitating, trying to be big. And so you're not shooting properly in it or in this marriage. Be yourself as a husband or wife. Then God comes in to use you and help you. Trying to be something else you are not is a hindrance for God to use you. Aim properly. Plan things with your partner. Whether it's courtship, prepare yourself. Some of us are not married because if God gave you a husband or wife, you mess things up. You're not preparing yourself. You see, the third one, actually the fourth one, so know your weapon. What are you trying to kill? Third one, aim properly. Number fourth, shoot at it. Shoot at it. Don't shoot at something else. Shoot at the thing. Go for the thing. The next one, have self-control. Self-control and humility. Self-control and humility are very important. Humility brings the grace, and when you control yourself, then you can be steady and shoot properly. The next one, power of God will therefore flow for the one who is humble. The power of God. Rely on the power of God. The next one, accuracy. Be very accurate. As best as you can as you should. Don't deviate from things. Conditions change. Fundamentals don't change. It's methods that change. As best as you can. The next one, do it in faith. Believe what you are doing. Do it in faith. The next one, do so persistently. Don't give up as necessary. Sometimes the prayer is answered, you go to the next one. So you can thank God. Sometimes God will convince you, start praising me, I've heard you. You haven't seen it physically, but I've taken care of it. And finally, keep doing until you see results. And God is ready to guide you. Know your weapon, number one. Number two, what you are trying to kill. Number three, aim properly. Number four, shoot at it. Number five, self-control. Number six, humility. Be humble with your gun and things. People elected you. God, by His grace, has given you a husband or wife, given you a child, given you a parent, given you a scholarship, made you travel, protected you, healed you, gave you opportunity, given you in-laws, giving you a house, giving you money. Be humble with it for the next stage. The next one, power of God. Then be very accurate, the next one, as best as you can, and do it in faith. Last but one, do so persistently as necessary. And finally, do it till you see results. And God is ever ready to guide you to have faith that is in action. We are trying to believe, but we are not persistent enough. We are not humble enough. We are not active enough with our faith. Like Nehemiah, as soon as there's a problem, take it to God. And always very specific in the prayer. When there's trouble, and still working. By Nehemiah chapter 4, it says one hand was on the weapon and one hand was on the tool. Don't let Satan catch you with tools without weapons. And each builder had one hand building and one hand on the weapon. The devil can even rob you of the power of your own sermons. What you preach, try to practice. Sometimes you finish preaching and you are fighting with your wife in the car, which is not the best. Okay? May the Lord help you to be very specific in a prayer. Some prayers are not being answered because your mind is scattered and you are not being effective in the position you have been placed or what you have been asked to do, because too much of yourself and people and impressions and grumbling and questioning, and you don't know how to work with people and ask them what to do. And you try to do, you get frustrated, and you are blaming circumstances and sometimes blaming the people you are working with. You see, so a bad workman quarrels with his tools. My computer and my shovel and my laptop and my chisel and my hammer and my desk is you. You. Be specific. Sometimes if you're not specific, you end up nailing your hand instead of nailing the nail. Boom, 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 boom. Your mind is scattered and woo, woo. Be specific in your prayers to have faith that is faith in action in this marriage, in this courtship, in this singleness, in this church, in this ministry, in this home, in this workplace, in this position you have elected to occupy, in this leadership position, wherever it is. Be specific in the courses you choose. Why you are doing the course you are doing. Be specific in what you are just posting anyhow on WhatsApp, on Facebook and places out of pride and emotions, and you Google things anyhow, fact-checking, doing this without even knowing what you are doing. What are you aiming at? What are you aiming at? Be specific. Are you seeing results? Look at all the things you posted, the things you wrote, the things you did. You don't check the results. What did you achieve? You don't ask yourself, and you're just going and go to the grave and appear before God. Misusing talents, gifts, and abilities. Wasting your guns. Wasting bullets. Wasting opportunities. And confusing others too. So that you confuse the wife or confuse the husband, confuse the family, confuse the church, confuse the ministry, confuse people, Because we don't know what your aim is in life. Be specific, especially when you are talking to God. May God bless you. Call me Reverend Dr. Samuel Kisseadoo in Virginia, 1-917-741-0643. 1-917-741-0643. Call Ghana 020-812-6533. 020-812-6533. Ghana code is 233. So 233-20-812-6533. We can connect you with people all over the place. The whole of Ghana places, wherever you are in the world, we can connect you with somebody. We have representatives abroad as well, especially in Ghana. And call me in the United States on the number I've given you. The email is kisseadoo@msn.com. kisseadoo@msn.com. The website is www.fruitfulministriesint.com. www.fruitful, F-R-U-I-T, Fruitful Ministries is R-I-E-S, www.fruitfulministriesint.com. There's a broadcast on Joy 99.7 FM in Accra, Ghana, every Saturday morning, 5:30 a.m. to 6 a.m. Hope for your family broadcast. Hope for your family. You can access anywhere on the surface of the earth, on the surface of the globe, with myjoyonline.com, myjoyonline.com, and go to live radio, Saturday, 5:30 to 6 a.m. Ghana time. Do the conversion wherever you are. And there are books. Go to amazon.com, put in the name Kisseadoo, Dr. Samuel Kisseadoo, Kisseadoo. You can get some Kindle versions or call these numbers. If you don't get them at Challenge bookstores in Ghana, call me in the United States, call Ghana. We can make the books also available to you. All kinds of books on faith and prayer and differences between males and females, 20 major signs of a failing marriage, what to do, how to spot them, how to prevent them. There's a book on trust. You can even get that one. You can download as Kindle on Amazon, amazon.com. On communication, on what you need to make a marriage strong, conflict resolution. And there's a counseling book that has 39 chapters. It tells you most of what a counselor will tell you. The beginning tells you how to be a good counselor, how to identify a good counselor and all that. Get in touch with us. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord strengthen you. May the Lord keep you. Whatever you're going through, Jesus has not forgotten you. So be still and know that I'm God. Psalm 46 verse 10. Whether it's a Red Sea in front of you, Exodus 14:14, the Lord will fight for you. Just be still, but be specific. Play your part. God doesn't do for you what you have to get through obedience. Even if your Red Sea will divide, stretch a stick. Don't try to swim. This is not a river. It's the sea. You better obey God. Listen to what He tells you. Specifically do that. And talk to Him specifically. Your faith will be in action. And you can go through your Red Sea. Because you're going to Canaan. God says so. You'll get there. Even if you meet Jordan, instructions, you'll get there. Meet Jericho, instructions, follow, you'll get there. You'll get to the Canaan of your singleness till you marry. The Canaan of your marriage, of your divorce and separation, of the decisions you have to take, of your health, of your retirement, of your finances, of your investment, of your ministry, of your church activities. You will get there because God says so. But hear Him and be specific. God bless you.